What's up, Ravens fans? It's time to hear from you guys in our Ravens Mailbag segment. There's lots of good questions rolling in as the Ravens have wrapped up the offseason program. So let's go ahead and dive into them. The first question to us comes today from Patrick Thurman. The question is, can you name one under-the-radar position that may need a veteran free agent to upgrade at that spot?
Well, I think the inclination here, the first positions that pop to mind will be inside linebacker and running back. I say running back because the Ravens didn't draft one. They were interested in drafting one, and Eric DeCosta said, we may bring somebody in there. I say inside linebacker because you're still looking for possibly somebody next to C.J. Mosley ever since Zach Rohr went down. But, I think Peanut has stepped up there. So, with all that said in front, the position I think under the radar that could still get somebody would be offensive line. The Ravens have a history of adding a veteran offensive lineman late in the process. Luke Bowanko, you think about last year, they even traded for him.
Yeah, so there was three guys last year. I mean, Austin Howard ended up being the starting right tackle. They got Tony Bergstrom.
Tony Bergstrom, that's right.
A lot of guys.
Yeah, exactly. So Ozzie never wants to be thin on the offensive line. And I think given the weapons that they've added on this offense, you need to protect Joe Flacco. So they could use a little bit of depth. They have some youth there, but maybe it's at center, maybe it's at guard. It all depends on how that shakes out. Where does Alex Lewis play? Where does James Hurst end up playing? Is Matt Skura ready to take over that starting center position? All those things are going to be kind of felt out during training camp and decided, and I could see the Ravens making a move on a veteran that gets cut by somebody else.
And the offensive line is also a position that some pretty good players come available late in the process because it's, you got a lot of moving pieces there. Every single team in the league does.
Exactly.
All right, so the next question to us also comes from Twitter. The question is from Terry Funk. And the question is, who has been the most impressive player overall so far? And who is the most impressive bubble long shot player? Well, I'll start with the most impressive player overall. I'll say Joe Flacco. And a lot of people have talked about how good Joe has looked throughout the entire offseason. I think he's throwing the ball basically what we've seen for 10 years. It's been a decade. He throws the ball good. He's got a great, the ball looks good coming off his hands. What I have been impressed with, I think mobility-wise, he's a little bit more willing to take off and run, and also mobility within the pocket.
Yeah, I think that's
plays.
The key part. Yeah, it's not running. He's not Lamar Jackson all of a sudden.
No, well, he's not Lamar Jackson, but he's running more during practice than I've seen in past years. Taking off a little bit more, and then just within the pocket, moving around, extending plays. And he talked about that. He said that he feels more comfortable mobility-wise than he has in past years. Then the other player, in terms of a bubble player who I've been impressed with, I'll look at wide receiver, and I think Tim White. This is somebody who impressed a lot of people last year. I think he probably would have been on the team if he didn't suffer that thumb injury in preseason, but he's a guy who could end up being a starting returner. I think he's looked good at receiver, so he is definitely somebody watching training camp in the preseason.
I would agree with that. One other name I'll toss out, I think Kamalei Correa. I think is kind of a bubble player at this point, just because his 2 years haven't been exactly what we all expected. I think he looks good. I think coming off the edge, he looks a lot more natural.
All right, our final question today, this one comes to us from Zach Gardner. In a crowded wide receiver battle, how has undrafted free agent Jalen Acklin looked so far? He seemed like he was in a lot of these highlights. He was in with Lamar Jackson recently.
Yeah, I think that's the one that everybody's thinking of, the Lamar Jackson in the back of the ends, and that was a really nice catch. Dragged his toes. That was a nice play. I think he's looked fine. I wouldn't say that he stood out and not really, I think, a contender right now, a major contender making the team. I'll say this. I'll add this about the undrafted free agents. I wouldn't be shocked if this is a year that one doesn't make it. I think that the Ravens have a lot of rookies. It was a 12-man class in this year's group, and they had a lot of youth that, promising young players from years past that I think have a good shot to make this team. I mean, if you do the math, which we've already started to kind of outline our 53-man roster, I'm not positive that every rookie is going to make it. So an undrafted guy, that would really be kind of a surprise story. And, I don't know that there's anybody yet from that group that has said, wow, that guy's really impressed me.
Definitely an uphill battle.
Yeah, I would agree.
For those guys. So that does it for this week's mailbag. But as always, we'd love to hear from you guys. So send in those questions every single week using the hashtag RavensMailbag. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day.